BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Welcome along, everybody. We are back for silver. We are here for the Italian Grand Prix. I forgot where I was. But yeah, we're ready to get going then for the Italian Grand Prix round 7 of season 7. And Dylan is going to be taking us away then for the opening round here, or opening lap of qualifying here in Monza. And we can get ourselves underway then. It looks like Plotters is having some problems getting in the lobby, but hopefully we can get that sorted. Right, then we are ready to get going then in the Silver Season 7, round 7 of the Silver Season. And if you haven't guessed it, we're in Italy once again then, of course, after gold last night. And of course, in Italy tomorrow as well then for bronze as well. But looking forward to this one. It's going to be, hopefully, an epic Grand Prix. Ola from Gordo, he's got the wrong language there. It is Italy, good sir. It's not Spain anymore. We've done Spain, I think. I can't remember if we've done Spain or not, actually. I think we've done Spain quite early on in the calendar, but I've completely forgotten about what's gone on before. It's all about what's going on tonight then. And dry as well then for Gordo. Not for Gordo. I think it's going to be for Gordo as well then in the race itself. So that is, I think, for the qualifying and the race, it's going to be nice and sunny here in Italy then. Indeed. And Dylan, of course, is going to be taking us away then for the first outing around this very historic circuit now, and a very fast circuit indeed as well. Only a few corners, not many corners to worry about, to be honest. It's just getting yourself around at the maximum speed, and you're topping out the car pretty much already as you go onto the main straight there. Here comes Dylan then to start off the qualifying here for Season 7 as TK has had an issue then. I think TK is in the pit lane, I think. So unfortunately for TK, he is not going to be taking part in qualifying here tonight. So that'll be TK out of the running already. Then he might be out of qualifying and down in the order then for this race. And I'm not quite sure if he's got a qualifying ban or not. I don't think he did. But there we go. And then Chow, I think, is that Chow? I'm not quite sure. Now you're going to start making me sing, but I'm not quite sure if that is the right. I'm pretty sure it's similar or something like that then for Gordo then in the comment section. I'm not quite sure. Someone can correct this or Google translate it in the meantime, but never mind. We'll crack on then with the qualifying, because I'm not quite sure what the translations are for Italian. I know that there's pizza and there's pasta, and that's about it. And that's that goes in my mouth. No pun intended. There we go. Through the Ascari then for Dylan. Let's see what he can do then. Of course, going purple in the throwing. They can go through Ascari. Then that is unfortunately costly then for the McLaren driver on his first outing around here, going too wide then through the Ascari chicane then on the exit, and that has unfortunately validated. And here comes Ginner. Then Ginner is going to be going through into the Parabolica corner, the final corner, then the historic Parabolica corner of the circuit. Then up to the line, then it's a 19.4 then for the Aston Martin driver of Ginner. Then good stuff indeed to get us underway here in qualifying as well. Then here comes Dopey Lemons up to the line. Then Dopey Lemons with a 19.8 then for the Williams team, and puts himself into P2 for the time being, 4/10 off the current pole sitter, but there's only 2 times on the board then, currently 4/10 behind Ginner. Then here comes Grox, of course, the championship leader as it stands as well. Then he is looking impressive in the Ferrari. Then can he put the Ferrari onto the top step here in Italy? Then not quite. Then it's a 19.6 then for the Ferrari driver, but of course the Tifosi will be cheering him on, as well as Riyadh, who is in the pit lane at the moment. They'll be cheering on their home team here in Monza, of course. Then good stuff indeed. Then Mr. Lee has done 20.2. Then he just I think getting out of the way there was there's another Aston Martin then of Plotters. I'm just trying to get himself sorted. I think you're trying to get him out of the way of a speeding around the circuit Aston Martin, who is now going through into sector 1 then to set off his first attempt here in qualifying, as Pot stuff then up into P2 with a 19.4 as well. Yellow flag then I think from Mr. Elite, just getting out of the way of a Ferrari flying through. So we have repeat up into P4 with a 19.6. Good stuff indeed from him. Vessia then with 26.0. I'm not quite sure how Vessia's best pace, but we'll find out then in the rest of qualifying. One for them going to be a star as well. Then looking good indeed in the Alpha carry. Can he get the Alpha carry through the Ascari chicane correctly? That is. And yes, he can. Then good stuff indeed. Mumford then has got himself through there safely. Let's see what he can do then as he rounds the final corner then of the Parabolica turn, I should say. It's meant to be what you said. I can't spell it. It says I'm not quite sure. I think he's still talking about the translation. Then up to the line then for Mumford, and it's a 19.9 then as the times start tumbling in here in the Italian Grand Prix. Plotters then with 23.0. I think he might have had a few complications on that lap, as Gordo is on track as well. And after seeing that, Google Translate is now onto the circuit then as he himself through the Ascari chicane into the first outing as well, then for the Mercedes driver. Let's see what he can do then through the Ascari chicane. A bit wobbly then from Gordo. I think he's abandoned his lap time. He's pulled off to the side of the track then to allow the McLaren of, who is that? McLaren, I think, of Sweden Repeat coming through. Then Ultimate Beast is back out on circuit. Ultimate Beast has had a bit of a difficult start to the season, but he's now chugging away, then getting himself back into the points paying positions as well. Then in the last couple of races as well. Let's see what he can do. Purple in sector 1. That is looking promising then for the Red Bull driver. Then it's he's gone over the curb, but then into the Delaware chicane, which I completely forgot the name of in the 100% league last Wednesday. But so far so good then for the Red Bull driver. Then coming through now the second Lesmo onto the back straight. Smith said, let's go Silver. So I think he's looking forward to an exciting race here tonight as well then for the Silver team. And they will be seeing what they can do then in the qualifying. Of course, 11 minutes left in qualifying. There's a red ball off the circuit there of Irvine. I think on an outlet there, almost getting in the way of his teammate on the exit of Ascari then, but he's got himself sorted. What is going on for Irvine? He's off the circuit completely now. What's he doing? He's not going the wrong way then, is Irvine. I'm not quite sure. He's been disqualified for going the wrong way as well then. Interesting stuff indeed then from Irvine in one of the Red Bulls. Here comes the other Red Bull then up to the light. It's a 20.4 then for Ultimate Beast then. Irvine has been disqualified and he is going to be starting from P20 on the grid then. I'm not quite sure what was going on there for Irvine, but he's having a few issues, let's put it that way, out there at the moment. Then he is now, Vessia is now up into P3 with a 19.5, and he is only about a tenth away there from pole position. And of course, he got the win here in Monza last Wednesday in the 100% league, despite the penalty that was added on. I'm not quite sure what is going on with me graphics here. Let me select the right car. There we go. I wanted to see Kamara Racer, but unfortunately Kamara Racer has invalidated his time, so we'll come back to him. Gordo coming around the parabolic corner then to finish off his in-lap. I think here comes Riyadh into the Ascari again then, and now negotiating the one last corner then of the circuit then as we go down towards the parabolica then in the other Ferrari. Then the one Ferrari in P4 currently. Here comes the second Ferrari to set his first time on the board. What's it going to be then from Riyadh as he comes up to the line now to finish off his first lap here? It's a 19.8 there, puts himself P8 as well then. So both Ferraris then in the top 10. That would be very happy then. Happy point from the point of view of the Tifosi, I'm sure then, as they'll be very keen on seeing their drivers do well. Then here comes Dylan. He's just started a lap. They were right on board with it as we go around the curve around it then towards the end of sector 1. And finishing off the lap here as well now. Finishing off the first sector, I should say first. He's not going to be finishing off the lap just yet. Then here we come now as the Mercedes all over the place there in front of us. But they have got out of the way, thankfully. They're going to go into the first leg now. Yellow flags flashing, I think it was for that Mercedes, and he's knocked himself out of the way, then into the second leg as well now on the power as quickly as you can then, but of course you can link the back end quite easily then, as we've seen in previous races. It's now down the hill we go then, and back up towards the Ascari again then into this quick left-hander then, and quick right-hander follow straight away then over the curve then for Dylan, as he's been unsettled by the curve then on the exit of the Ascari, came then down towards the parabolic and all those sort of cars trying to sort themselves out in front of us. And hopefully they get out of the way then of this McLaren, who is flying around the parabolic and now and to finish off his first flying lap. Here he comes in to set a first ballot lap, and up to the line it's a 19.4, puts himself P2. So a great lap time indeed there from Dylan then in the McLaren. Good stuff indeed onto the front row of the grid as it stands, and he is only about, he's less than 10th away then from pole position as it stands as well. That's not too far away then for the McLaren driver. Good stuff indeed then. Gordo coming back round the parabolic again to finish off another flying, no, it's not another flying lap unfortunately, it's just another out lap then for Gordo as away he goes once again then. We'll come back to Gordo, let's see whatever else is doing. Mumford is starting a lap then, Mr. Elite is further along then into sector 2, and I think he is going to be the first round. Oh, he's going a bit wide then through the first Lesmo. Dopey Lemons is retired on the circuit. I think there's an issue then for Dopey Lemons, and there is the stricken LP Williams, LP, and there's not a regular flying through as well. I'm not quite sure what happens to Dopey Lemons there, but he's out of qualifying. He's not going to be starting any higher than P9 in this Grand Prix, unfortunately, than for Williams driver, who is the highest ranked Williams. Kamara Racer then coming down the main straight to start off his first flying lap. Nigel, then the championship contender that didn't race last week, of course he was on holiday, but he is back now in the Haas then to try and get himself back in the championship fight for the the lead of the championship, that is. Of course, Glock and Dylan are taking precedence so far, and Bath is down to P4. He's not coming out the pit lane just yet as well. Here comes Gordo, and then we'll go back on board with Gordo to see what he's going to be up to as we go down towards the Parabolica corner. Then 7 minutes left of the qualifying here as we go round the final corner then for the Mercedes driver. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve on a 23.6? I'm sure he can. Up to the line, it's a 20.1, then puts himself P11 and just ahead of his teammate as well. Then good stuff indeed from Gordo, as Glocks, I've completely missed it, but Glocks has gone into the 18s with an 18.773. That is fantastic stuff indeed. I'm sure the Ferrari fans will be very happy with that indeed, as he puts himself onto pole position here, as Sweet improves as well to a 19.2 to put himself on the front row in P2, but that's still almost half a second away from Glocks' time. That's fantastic stuff indeed from the Ferrari driver, and looking pretty strong here in his in the Ferrari's home race. Of course, pots stuff up into P2, then displays his 300p then with a 19.2 as well, then only 16 thousandths of a second separate Potstuff and Sweet MJP then as it stands in qualifying. Kamara Racing with his first time on the board then has done a 19.4, puts himself P5 as it stands as well. Then Nigel with a 19.6 then struggling in qualifying, it seems to be then for the Haas driver, but he can do it in the race. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds. Here comes Plotters now around the final corner to finish off his second outing here in qualifying, and let's see what he can do. They're very tight to the inside then on the Parabolica corner, then up to the line. Then Plotters there improves by 2.5 tenths almost to put himself P6 in the qualifying as it stands as well. Then good stuff indeed. Then Gordo is having a bit of an escapade then off the circuit at Ascari, then trying to get himself back onto the track, and I think just letting the traffic go through, but he seems to be struggling out there with the fuel unfortunately, so he needs to get himself into the pit lane as quickly as possible then, and unfortunately it might be a bit distracting then for the cars flying through as ultimately he's flying through into the first chicane. Good stuff indeed. An Alfa Romeo, I think, of Kamara Racer just flying down the back straight, but he is coming back into the pit lane. That fuel light flashing away then for the Alfa Romeo. Plus then is, I think he's on the in-lap, but I'm not quite sure. And that is that so far for the qualifying. I think they're calming down a little bit now before everyone comes back out then for their final attempts here in qualifying as well. Dylan is back out on track then again, and Gordo is trying to get himself back to the pit lane, isn't he? Ultimate Beast is on a lap, I believe. He's done 20.4 so far. Can he improve on that then? Can he get himself further up the order then? It's his, he's improving by almost 4 tenths of a second there. That will put him in the range of the top 10 as it stands. Then through Ascari we go then in the Red Bull, and now let's see what he can do in the final part of the lap as well. Then into sector 3 we go then for the Red Bull driver. Then can he improve there on a 20.4? I think he's already up on his time. Let's see if he can maximize that through the Parabolica as well then, and get himself into the top 10 then. Let's see from the Red Bull driver up to the line then, what's it going to do? He's going to be doing a 19.6. That's a massive improvement, an 8/10 improvement, puts himself P10 as it stands as well. Then great stuff indeed then from Ultimate Beast, a great improvement on his previous lap as well. Then fantastic stuff indeed. Then here comes Farth down the back straight then towards the final corner as well. Then yellow flags fluttering I think for Dylan then in the Ascari chicane. He's on an out lap at the moment, but we'll come back to him because he's going to be starting another lap very soon. Here comes Farth up to the line. It's a 19.7, puts himself P12 then in behind Riyadh then by mathematics. That is 7 thousandths of a second then behind Riyadh. So good stuff indeed then from Farth then on his first attempt then, as he I'm not sure, camera couldn't follow that, could he? He seems to be doing the Vettel line then through turns 1 and 2. There we go then. Unfortunately, like I said, Irvine disqualified from this qualifying session for going the wrong way somehow, and TK retired in the pit lane. Then Dopey Levens had a bit of a smash then on the circuit. He's going to be P13 at best at this stage of qualifying. Reflection not out of the box yet either. Both the Mercedes can come out and improve as well then. We will wait and see. Evening, Serious Mushroom as well then in the comment section. Good evening to all, and good luck for good luck. I'm sure it's good luck for everybody as well, to be fair. Good luck to everybody as well from my point of view, as also where we need some good luck around this circuit then as well. It's a very fast paced circuit indeed then. Speed is paramount. Hold on to it through the corners as well. But now and holding on through the corners very nicely indeed so far. And now into Sector 3 we go then. He's not improving on his time currently then, is Dylan. But can he find some time then in Sector 3, then through Ascari, then over the curbs as well then in the final part of the chicane. And now down to the start finish line once again then around the final corner then. Let's see what Dylan can do. Can he improve then on the 19.4? Would he put himself in the range then of the front row of the grid then? We'll see what he can do then through Parabolica then up to the line for the McLaren then. He has improved then by a tenth and a half, puts himself P4 on the second row of the grid then with a 19.333. That's good stuff indeed then. Kamara Racer then, oh dear, what was going on there then? Kamara Racer then, there's a Mercedes I think just almost took him out in that stage of the corner then, as there's a Mercedes completely off the circuit as well then. I'm not quite sure what was going on there then. Kamara Racer might have been a bit unsettled then from that point of view, but the previous Della chicane. I can't say that very quickly, unfortunately. But now into the first sector as well. I'm not quite sure if that's distracted the Alpha there as well. They're looking further around it, but it seems like that Mercedes is having a few issues on the exit of the first chicane. And regardless, so that will come back to it as Plotters has left the session again. And now into Sector 2, he has improved then, has Kamara then into the Ascari chicane we go then, flying over the curbs once again. They seem to be taking a lot of curb then in the silver grid so far in this qualifying. I'm not quite sure they'll be taking those curbs then in the Grand Prix itself then, because it's going to be quite a dodgy place to try and maximise the time then through the race itself as well then. But round into the rest of the circuit then up to the line then, and Kamara racing comes back. So never mind then, we'll unfortunately have to ignore that because he's done and dusted. Plotters has come back in, and having a few internet issues out there for the Aston Martin driver, and I don't think he's going to be able to come back into qualifying either here. Dylan, I think, might be able to start off another lap then. The fuel light flashing away though, so that might be compromising his next attempt here in qualifying. He is back in the pit lane, so he is done and dusted then. We'll have to wait and see if anybody can knock him off the second row of the grid, that is. He is currently in P4. Right then, we'll go back on board as Plotters has left the session again. So he seems to be having a few issues there. Ultimate Beast was retired then in the pit lane. I think that is him done and dusted in qualifying. Unfortunately, not going to be any higher than P10 in this Grand Prix. Quarter coming through the first chicane. There's Mr. Elite as well then flying through. I think he might be able to start off another lap then. He might be able to get to the line in time. He has done just about, but it's going to be very low on ERS then. Reflection has unfortunately not been able to get himself out of the pit lane. Same for TK as well then. So those two are going to be at the back of the order then with Irvine. Kaz there crosses the line then. He's improved by 5 seconds though to 20.3 then into P17 then for Kaz then, and that is his qualifying done and dusted. Riyadh has crossed the line, stays P11 then. Kamara Racer stays P6 of course. Plotters has rejoined once again, so hopefully this time he can stay in the lobby, as we've still got a few drivers then to cross the line here in the last few stages of qualifying here in Monza, as the Ascari chicane has caught out Jinner. Then Jinner has had to Jinner has invalidated his lap time, I should say then, and that has been very costly indeed then for the Aston Martin driver. P5 at best at this stage. Here comes Gordo then down towards the final corner. Then let's see if car number 3 can improve on P15 as it stands then around the final corner. He comes up to the line. Let's see what Gordo can do then. It's going to be an improvement. I think he has improved up to P5 then. A fantastic improvement indeed then from Gordo. Really good qualifying indeed then from Gordo as well then. Great stuff indeed. Unfortunately for Potstuff, they cannot improve. Then here comes Glocks. He's coming back to the pits as well then. So that I think is a qualifying done and dusted, unless Vessia can do something as well. He can't improve, unfortunately. Can Vessia, so he stays P9 as it stands as well. Farf has invalidated his time also, so that is Farf done in qualifying. Mr. Elite up to the line. He has improved, but he stays P16, and unfortunately that is qualifying done and dusted. It was a bit of a quick one, that one. But Glocks then is your pole sitter. He couldn't improve on his 18.773 on his final run, but he didn't need to because he has got himself on pole position. I think by almost, I think that's over, is that over 5/10 of a second? That's half a second then to the rest of the field. That is fantastic stuff indeed then from Glocks. Then he's done a great job indeed getting himself on pole position then for the Ferrari team in their home Grand Prix as well then. Fantastic stuff. Good. Right, then we'll crack on then with the race. We'll run through the classification very shortly. Here is your classification then for the qualifying for the grid then for the 27 laps, I think it is, of the Italian Grand Prix coming up very shortly then. So Glocks then is your pole sitter then in the Ferrari as well then. Potstuff P2, Sweet MGP in P3, Dylan in P4, Gordo with a fantastic qualifying in P5, then Jinner in P6, Kamara Racer P7, Plotters P8, then hopefully he can stay in the session long enough to start the race, that is. Vessia then in P9, Mumford in P10, Nigel Nigel P11 then, unfortunately for Nigel, not where he wants to be. Ultimate Beast in P12, then Riyadh in P13, Varth in P14, Dopey Lemons had a big crash then, stays P15 after only making one run in the qualifying. Mr. Elite in P16, Kaz in P17, and unfortunately Reflection, TK and Irvine didn't get a time on the board here.
BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
If you haven't checked out BoxBox yet, please do. The new Formula One season is just about to start, isn't it? It's I think the first practice is on Thursday, isn't it? Of course, they are starting a day earlier for Bahrain, as we are racing on the Saturday. Well, Bahrain is racing on the Saturday, that is, with the I can't remember why it is, but there we go. Never mind. So yeah, get checking out BoxBox. Then of course you can get all sorts of live updates, live widgets, and live standing updates as well on your home screen and lock screen, that sort of thing. It's very nice stuff indeed. Then, and you can grab that then with a discount then for iPhone users. You can get it obviously on Android as well. But so iPhone for the win. But I don't want to start that in the comment section. Yeah, anyway, so check out BoxBox, and of course, if you've got any pennies left over, then feel free to check out the ALR shop then and get yourself some nice ALR merchandise as well. There we go. Then we are ready to crack on then with the where are we? Crack on then with the Grand Prix itself then. And we've got some interesting strategy courses for it then from quite a few drivers as well. Then quite a combination of strategies throughout the grid as it stands on the opening stage. That is Ramadan says that we have the Bahrain Grand Prix a day earlier than the Sunday, of course. And Gordo said he's buzzing with the qualifying as well. They're buzzing with that, says Gordo. So good stuff indeed. Starting in P5 then for the Mercedes, best qualifying so far this season as well. Good stuff from him. We've got a combination of mediums, softs and hards then. So we've got hard compound tyres for Mags then, who is P1, Jimmer in P6 then, and Nigel in P11. We've got softs then for Kaz in P17, and for two of the top runners then, Potstuff and Swinger P then on the softs in P2 and P3. Everybody else on the medium compound tyres. So a bit of a variety then in the strategy specialist room, and they have decided to mix up the strategies then for the teams as we get ourselves lined up then on the grid for the start of the Italian Grand Prix here in Silver. Softs are crazy, says Serious Mushroom. So softs is not the way to go then for Serious Mushroom, he is saying then. So I think we'll have to find out how they're going to fare then in the opening stages of this race. Then Glock's taken a very leisurely rejoin to the grid, and he has got himself parked up into the number one spot then. Hopefully we can get a better camera angle than this, and we can't quite tell what is going on because this camera angle is absolutely appalling. And I think we'll have to settle for that one really. Hopefully we can get ourselves some good racing here tonight then, and get ourselves started. I think we're absolutely right on board then. Vibrate lights are on here in Monza, and the vibrate lights are off, and away we go for the Italian Grand Prix. Then we are lights out, and away we go then down towards the first turn, and pops up with a great start on the soft compound tyres, has already taken the lead before we get to the braking zone of turn one. Then no shenanigans just yet, I should say. Then into the rest of the field then, and into turns 1 and 2 we go, flying through. Then decision changes because that's what we want to see, as Glocks then holds on to P2 then after getting himself being passed by Potstuff with a great start indeed for the Alpine driver. Trying to check out in the distance area he is, as Gordon's got himself past Dylan then up into P4 for as well. Then great start indeed then for the Mercedes. Then in a bit of a McLaren sandwich as we go through into the Delaronda chicane then for the first time on lap 1 of 27. Kamara Racing got himself up one place as well. Same for Plotters as well. We had Jenner then dropping down the order on the hard compound tyres. Not having a great start on those hard compounds is the Aston Martin. Well, of course, it will fade back into his favour then in the latter stages of his first stint as well. Then TK has already gained 8 places as well. Then he's done a flying job then in the Alpha Tower, then almost into the brink of the point pair positions as well now as he battles through the field quickly enough indeed. Nigel's lost out then as we go round the outside then with Dobie Lemons on Mr. Elite. That's a great move indeed then through the Ascara chicane. Then he's got himself through up into P14 as Mumford and Favre are switching places. Mumford has dropped down to P9, then the Favre now ahead into P8 I should say then. There's all sorts of action then on the opening lap. Then Riyad has lost out. He's had a bit of an issue then into the first lap as well then as he's now dropped down to P18 out in front. Then Gordo and Dylan are switching places there. Gordo dropping down to P5. Mr. Elite's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and the pit lane can be a bit of a misleading this morning. Can catch quite a few drivers out then into the box then for Mr. Elite. Then he's just onto the hard compound tyres then. Mr. Elite is not a wing change then for we've got a problem for TK. TK's had an issue. Where is he? There he is. He's had an issue then coming through the first chicane. It looks like he's got himself back underway. Then he's dropped down to P17 after that great start then into P11 then for the Alpha Tauri. He's now dropped back down to P17. Unfortunately, he's only gained 2 places from where he started originally. Then Riyad has been squeezed off the several by the Alpine of reflection. TK's got himself through past the Ferrari as well, then up into P16 and now back underway then for the Alpha Tauri driver Mr. Elite. I'm not quite sure if they didn't change his front wing then for Mr. Elite, but he had a unscheduled stop it looked like, but he's now got himself back underway then with a change of tyre but no change of front wing, and he is cracking on again then. So maybe Mr. Elite knows something to do and potentially can get those hard compact tyres to the end of the Grand Prix from here. That would be an interesting strategy then as Favre's got himself past Plotters, has he now into P7 ahead of the Aston Martin into Parabolica now and chasing down Kamara Racing. Then Deltas are all over the place. Hopefully they will sort themselves out then as we go on to lap 3. Then DRS now enabled as Sweet NJP gets himself past Mags then into P2 and ahead now of the Ferrari driver as well then. Good stuff indeed then. Vessier and Dopey Lemons. Then Vessier has lost out then on the start in the opening couple of laps then, but he's now got himself back up into P12 ahead of Dopey Lemons. Now into turn 1 we go then. No contact thankfully as we go flying through then. Reflection and TK switching places as well as we go through turns 1 and 2. Then TK now back up into P14 trying to get himself back underway in this Grand Prix after that spin through that same complex of corners. Then on the last lap now into the Curva Grande we go. Vessier's losing a bit of time through here. He's not having a great time in this opening stage of this lap as well then, because I think he's on the medium. Have a look at he's on the medium compound tyres. We would expect the mediums to start to kick on very quickly indeed in this Grand Prix. The softs out front though seem to be the way to go then for Potsdam and Swindon then, but Serious Russian has said in the comment section that those are not the tyres to be on then in this Grand Prix. We will have to wait and see which one is going to be the correct. But there we are then into the end of lap 3 then. Of course DRS now available down the main straight this time. It looks like Mr. Elite, I'm not quite sure if Mr. Elite's got a wing change at least that wasn't serviced in the pit lane there, but he seems to be cracking on then, and it looks like he's okay then, but maybe just a bit of a strategy call then from Mr. Elite. I'm not quite sure if that's going to work out. We'll have to wait and see. We will have to hope then for Mr. Elite that it's going to work out in his favour as well then. Down the main straight we go once again on to lap 4 of 27. This is the quickest Grand Prix in the calendar, which is going to be good news for me because I'm really struggling. And Vessier has got himself past. Oh, dearie me. Here we go then, 3 wide, almost 2 wide there into turn 1 and 2. And I thought there was going to be contact there, but it seems like they've all negotiated that pretty well indeed. As Vessier then gets himself back past Jenner with a nice little switch back then through turns 2, then back up into P12 then for Vessier, trying to chase down Nigel, who's now lost out to the top 10 on those hard compound tyres. As Nigel trying to struggle on there in the Haas. I think he must be having some sort of issues. Then he's losing a lot of time then to Ultimate Beast, who's now got himself up into the top 10 and trying to hold on to the top back as well. There's a bit of a gap there forming between the top 4 and Gordo. Now as Gordo's got some relation with Fast now for company. Yellow flags in the background. Ginner's had a problem there in the background there where he's gone. He's gone off at the first level. He's got himself back underway quickly enough and got a chase down tomorrow race picked up a 3-second penalty. That was bad news for Kamara. Then through the Ascara chicane, that's 3 warnings, 3 track extensions, and that has added to his, not added to his woes, because he's doing a pretty good job in P6 at the moment, but it will be added to his race time, which might add to his woes at the end of the Grand Prix. Yellow flags again. Yellow flags for Gordo. Gordo's off the circuit, and Dylan's had an issue as well then in the Parabolica corner. I'm not quite sure what's happened to the Mercedes driver, and that is a safety car as well then. So his Kamara race has got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well then. Mr. Elite is going to be quite pleased about that. He's now going to be brought back into the fight. Yeah, not quite sure what happened before then. He had an issue then through Parabolica, it looked like. And I think he might have been involved with Dylan as well, because Dylan there is, had a spin, or had some sort of issue then, as Plotters has left the session at the front again. And hopefully he can get himself back in once again. He's having a nightmare with the internet, it seems like, for Plotters. But never mind. Hopefully he can get himself sorted. A lot of pit lane action, of course, now. Of course, the safety car has been released. The leaders have passed the safety car though, so they will be still flying around at this the great pace indeed. I imagine. I think there's no delta at the moment because the safety car hasn't caught the leader. Yeah, there we go. Then we are there into the pits there, onto the hard compound tyres for a lot of drivers here as well. Then Mr. Elite is back in the pit, serving that 5-second penalty. Will get that removed from his time. And Kamara Racing unfortunately has picked up that. He picked up a 3-second penalty, didn't he, as well? So he's now got 8 seconds of penalties until that 5 seconds of speeding in the pit lane was picked up. Then as Plotters is back in the car, back in the session. That is, he's not in the car just yet. Then will he be able to get himself back in the car in time to make any stops, or make any unscheduled stops, I should say, before the cars get themselves into the onto the main straight once again? Then safety car is yet to catch up the pack. Then Mr. Elite's come out the pit lane now. He's going to be passing the safety car very shortly. And softs were the best. Softs were good last night as well. So for Keza in gold. Yeah, that was 10 laps to go, says Serious Mushroom. And there we are there. So they're having a good discussion about the strategies then. Into the pits comes Pot Stuff and Sweet Rippy. Then as Plotters has once again left the session. So I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to carry on in this Grand Prix. A bit of a slow stop. That was a bit of a teleporting stop then for Pot Stuff, as he is teleported out of the pit lane now there onto the main straight. Where is he going to come out in relation to Nigel, who is on the soft compound tyres? That's an interesting thing there for Nigel as well. Then after starting on the hard compound, he is going to be flying down the main straight now then, but I think he's going to be out behind Mumford. Beast has got himself past Mumford in the stops there. I think maybe there might have been some sort of issue then. I'm not quite sure if there was any double stacking going on there, but unfortunately for Mumford, he's dropped down behind the Red Bull driver for the time being, that is, as once again Plotters has rejoined. But I don't know if he's going to be in the session for much longer, because he seems to be coming back out again. Mr. Elite is not catching up to the back of the pack very quickly, as Riyadh has left the session as well now. So maybe there's more issues then around the field than I am aware of. Maybe it's more than just Plotters' internet connection. Maybe it's everybody's. Maybe it's just me. Who knows? We'll find out. But yeah, we'll have to see. Top 6 have not pitted yet. Everybody else has done a pit stop then under the safety car, or before the safety car, that is, as we get ourselves back underway then, hopefully very soon then in this Italian Grand Prix. But at the moment we're at a bit of a low point in the Grand Prix. Mr. Elite got a 3-second penalty for cutting corners then under the safety car. That is bad news indeed then for Mr. Elite. He's not having a great time out there, and he's having a bit of trouble trying to catch up to the safety car queue as it stands as well then. As there we go then, the top 6 it is yet to pit then. So there's Glocks then on the hards. Riyadh has joined the session once again as well then. Glocks on the hard, same for Ginnery in P6, and then we've got the middle quartet then from P2 of Farf, they're down to Irvine of P5 on the medium compound tyres. So that is how it stands at the moment. Everybody else has switched up the strategies as well after either making a stop then for the hards, the mediums, or the softs, it looks like. So everybody has decided to go for all sorts of strategies then on the restart, on the next stint for this race. We will wait and see then, waiting for the safety car to get all of the drivers caught up then. It seems like Mr. Elite is having a few troubles there catching up to the safety car queue, so he is unfortunately not having a great time out there, and needs to get himself into the safety car crocodile before the safety car comes in. And I think it will be at the end of this lap, so yeah, he needs to get a hurry up then for the Mercedes driver then to catch up to the back of the queue. But we are ready to get going hopefully very soon then for the restart of this race. We are on lap 7 of 27. We've got 20 laps to go at the end of this one. So far it's been a bit of an action-packed, and the safety car, I'm not quite sure, we'll have to review that after the race then. We didn't quite see what happened then between Gordo and I think it was Dylan then into the Parabolica corner. but Gordo then was out of the Grand Prix. Was put out of the Grand Prix then. We didn't see exactly what happened then, and Dylan was in a bit of a spin there trying to get the car corrected, and he's down to P13 unfortunately for Dylan there after pitting as well then with everybody else there for the hard compound tyres after the safety car was released for Gordo's incident then. Safety car is coming through the Ascara chicane now then. It looks like Mr. Elite is still struggling to catch up to the back of the queue, but I'm not quite sure what is going on for Mr. Elite. He's having a few issues out there it seems, and he's hopefully going to be able to catch up very shortly indeed. But there we are then, so far so good for the rest of the drivers in. Dylan spun and Gordo could have stopped then, says Gordo in the comment section, so that is the unfortunate reason then for the DNF for Gordo then, and the incident then for Dylan as well then, so a bit of a spin then from McLaren was costly indeed for himself, but majorly for Gordo unfortunately, so that has put them, oh my goodness, safety car in this lap, that's going to be a very late call indeed, and blimey, they've only got a few metres before the start finish line then, as safety car in this lap then. It's a very late call then from Burt Mylander to get himself back in the pit lane then, and away we go then for the restart of the Grand Prix. Yellow flags already fluttering then, because I think there's been a few issues around the back of the order then as we get ourselves restarted in this Grand Prix here as well. As into turn 1 we go then. Farf and Glocks then battling away then. Farf has stayed in P2 then. Plotter stays P3, and Irvine has got himself in a battle with Jenner, I should say, then through turns 1 and 2 as well then. A lot of drivers then on fresh tyres as well. Yellow flags, 5-second penalty for TK then, ignoring yellow flags, and unfortunately then for the County driver, it's not going too well then. Vesser has got past Plotters then for P3 as he stands Irvine, and Potstuff battling away. Potstuff's off the circuit there as well then. Not quite sure what's happened to the Alpine driver, but he's trying to get himself back underway then. Sweden V goes past into the top 10, and now he's now he's back into the McLaren as a few issues going on in the background as well. That we're not quite sure what is going on there for Mr. Elite. He's having a few struggles out there, is Mr. Elite. And both Mercedes, they're not having a great time in this Grand Prix, as he was back in the safety car queue then, but unfortunately there seems to be having a few more issues after the safety car restart as well then. Reflection and Rio then switching places then into the Ascara chicane then, up into P15 then for the Ferrari driver. Good stuff indeed. Gillian is now all over the back of Irvine again then on these on the fresh tyres then. Nigel's flying through there on the soft compound tyres then compared to those on the older tyres as well. ERS light flashing away though for Nigel. That is going to be very bad indeed then if he runs out of the battery power then before he can try and make the moves past all these drivers who yet to pit as well. Then Mumford coming through, then there's all sorts of cars going through, then there's almost going to be 3 wide, is it? Oh blimey, there's Red Bulls all over the place. There's an Aston Martin involved as well then as we go into turn 1 then, side by side, and Irvine, sorry, oh my goodness, what's going on there then? Oh my days. Yeah, we can't really, it's not past 9 PM then, so we can't really comment on that, but yeah, interesting stuff indeed. And that was can't really say anything about that, as Nigel's gone very wide then through the De La Roger chicane, and that could open the door once again then for Vessia then to go back down the around the outside then into the first Nigel then on the front franchise holds the place then for the time being. Reflection is in the pit lane for a wing change, I think then. A Reflection coming back out then on the soft compound, and yeah, a few issues down the back of the field. Lots of penalties starting to add up as well then, as the drivers then start to get themselves through this Grand Prix as well. Then we go then into the Ascara chicane. Now Nigel's got to into P3 then, but he's lost a lot of errors then through that opening lap then, and opening restart lap, which has now put him outside of the DRS range then of his teammate as Favre then. But into turn 1 we go then, and Favre is going to battle for the lead here. Into Parabolica we go then. Favre takes the lead of the Grand Prix then. The Haas there overtakes the Ferrari then for the race lead on to lap 10 now, as DRS re-enabled as well. Then to go down the main straight. Here comes Dylan there, not Dylan, sorry, here comes Glocks then, as we've got Dylan is coming through then into P10 up into the points 10 positions now ahead of Irvine. Of course Dylan has pitted as well then. Irvine is yet to pit then. He's on medium compound tyres compared to Dylan's fresh hard compound tyres. Gillian and Ultimate Beast are battling away side by side. There's contact between the Red Bull and the Aston Martin as well. We go through there this time the Aston Martins are fighting as well. Then there's an Aston Martin ahead of us as well. Here we go then into the first chicane, I should say. And we've got Aston Martin then of Gillian. Then he's got the inside. Then he had this corner, I think. There is Beast, and there's another one going involved. There's Mumford getting involved as well then. And we go through the first Lesmo, and now Beast I think has got ahead of Gillian. There's all sorts of action coming up behind as well. Then he pops up and flies through and past Mumford there into the second Lesmo. And Mumford then I think is, well, he was going to go for the move I think there at one point, but he can't now as well. Here comes Dylan on the outside then of the outer tower, then up into P9 then, and all of this action there is starting to be Beast and Jin, and they're battling away as we've got yellow flags then for Sweet MVP, who's had a problem there at the back of the order. Then down the Ascara chicane, there's a yellow flag. There's no front wing then for the McLaren driver. He's had an issue into the Ascara chicane then, and I think no, Kamara Racer is slowing down there as well. I'm not quite sure what's happened between Kamara Racer and Sweet MVP then into the Ascara chicane. They will have to sort that out after the race. Then Max takes back the lead of the race then, but here comes Nigel then. Nigel past his teammate then into turn one. Can he get himself into B1? Not quite. He's too far back then at the first chicane, I should say. There's all sorts of action in the background here as well. Then there's a car off the circuit then. There's an Aston Martin off the circuit. Then it's Plotters, I think, trying to get himself out of the way of all this battling here as we go through the Curva Grande once again. Then here comes Dylan there on the back of Jinner as we go through the long right hand, and then here comes the McLaren down the inside. Then has he got the position? He's got the position, I think. Late on the brakes, then Potsdam has gone wide once again. Then he's off the circuit through the chicane. Then as again he's off the circuit at the same chicane as well. He's got himself past Dylan. I think there's all sorts of issues then for Dylan. I think there's a bit of contact with Mumford as well. Then there's plenty of drivers there involved in this battle then for the 6th place in this race, and at the moment they've let the top 5 scamper away with all this battling as well. Then down the hill then towards the Ascara chicane. Here comes Potsdam and got himself through and past the Aston Martin of Jenner then into the Ascara chicane we go. Then and they're starting to struggle on those old hard compound tyres compared to these on the fresher tyres as well. Then much fresher tyres, that is, well, only not that fresh to be fair. They're only 5 laps fresher, but anyway, here we go. Dylan with the ERS assistance as well has got himself through then past the Aston Martin as we go into Parabolica, and there's an issue then for the Parabolica again as there's another safety car as Kamara Racer was out of the race. Past Vessia as well. I think there's also that pit lane as well. Then Dylan carries on, and so does 5-second penalty for Ultimate Beast with a collision with Vessia somehow in the pit lane, that is. Stuff indeed then, as we've got ourselves a bit more pit activity then. Soft compound tyres then for Farf. I'm not quite sure they'll get to the end of the Grand Prix there for Farf then. Unfortunately the safety car has not caught the race leaders again, so we will mosey on round once again then for some more laps then before the safety car is back in then. So there we go then, Swim to P then, and Reflection will be very happy with this then, because of course they will catch up to the back of the pack as well now with the pit stops that are being made then for all the rest of the drivers then in the field, as we crack on then for the next safety car period of this race, which unfortunately was for Kamara Racer's incident then at the Ascara chicane. Then a bit of a trap then for the drivers. Of course it's a very fast-paced chicane, and you can't easily lose it through the complex of corners as well then. So that is 2 drivers there out of the race then so far, unfortunately for Gorda then and for Kamara Racer. They are the only 2 retirements so far in this Grand Prix. We're on to lap 12, well soon to be on to lap 13 of 27, then almost at the halfway point of the Grand Prix. As I said, why is Farf puts softs on, and then Serious Mushroom said because he's mad, and German has said we'll wait till I catch an Aussie slip in. Well, you don't have to really wait, to be honest. You can just clip up the whole stream. But there you are then. Nigel in the pit lane then, and he's pulled it today then on the soft compound tyres. Dylan is coming in as well, it looks like, so he is going to pull it out on hard compound tyres as well then. Will they get out ahead of Farf is the question. And we will wait and see then. Cars going on Nigel's car, that would be a good call then to the end of the Grand Prix, if he can keep them alive then to the end of the race as well, that is, as he trundles down the pit lane. Can he take the lead of the Grand Prix here as well? I think he can actually, as out of the pit lane comes the Haas driver. He's going to be in the net race lead as well then. Great stuff indeed then from Nigel, or his point of view that is, as out of the pits comes Dylan and Mumford as well. Then where are they going to be in relation to Mags, who takes back P3 I think? Yes he does then. Vessia and Mumford switching places. Vessia is now off the circuit then and stranded the car then. That is not good news then for Vessia. Then he's going to be all over the place and trying to get himself back on then. And through goes Ultimate Beast as well. And I think he had to concede the place then to the Alfa Romeo then, who was all over the place. They're going through turn 1 and 2 there, but they've got themselves sorted thankfully. And now we've got some more action back in the field then. Mr. Elite into the box once again then to put on a new set of medium compound tyres. And again, could go to the end of the Grand Prix. I think everyone on mediums or hards can go to the end from here. Softs might be a bit of a stretch. They're going to potentially we'll have to wait and see who is going to come out on top then in terms of the strategy. That is who's got the best strategist in their pit wall, on their pit wall. I don't know. Kaz is off the circuit then, and Mr. Elite has gone through, so that is nice stuff indeed. Great. Might we wait for the safety car to catch up the rest of the pack then, and we can get ourselves restarted then for the remainder of this race. We've still got half the race to go, to be fair, so there's still quite a bit to go. But yeah, it's been, well, it's not been too bad, to be fair. It's just been an unfortunate incident there for Gordo that caused the first safety car, and for Camaro through the Ascara chicane that caused the second safety car as well. But there we go then. We will wait and see when the race gets restarted. I think it'll be the end of lap 14, hopefully. And we can crack on then for the last 13 laps then of this Grand Prix. And so Dermot said he's going to be in a wall then on Sunday. And I'll take it. I couldn't care less, to be honest. So there we go then. And yeah, all right. Well, I look forward to that on Sunday then. So yeah, well, here we go then. We're waiting for the rest of the drivers to catch up to the back of the pack. Won't make a difference to my race, to be honest. So yeah, we'll wait and see on Sunday then for that. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, Bahrain is going to be the opening of the F1 season as well then this weekend. And, of course, the ALR calendar will follow the F1 calendar as closely as possible in that regard as well. So we have got Bahrain coming up then for gold, silver and bronze next week as well then from Sunday as well. Bahrain is the 100% race as well this Wednesday, so that was another preview then for the opening stages of the actual F1 season. So yeah, come and tune into that one as well. That's going to be 50, I can't remember off the top of my head now, so yeah, there's a number of laps you have to do for the 100% this week, I can't remember what it is, but it's something like 50. Yeah, there we go. Out to the win, so PT as well, and unbelievable apparently, but just given up, to be fair, so there we are. So yeah, Farfetch is on the second car, same as Dylan in P4, and Logan Lemons is safety car coming in, on the second car as well. So safety car coming in at the end of this lap, then Kaz just catching up to the back of the safety car queue, and we can get ourselves back underway then for the restart of this race. I think safety car coming in a bit earlier than the last one, because of course they only had about 5 metres before the start finish line before the safety car came on the first one. This time it's giving them a bit more of a warning, as Nigel then will restart this race in the next few metres or so as well. Right, safety car needs to get himself in the pit lane, so we can crack on then onto lap 15 of 27. 13 laps remain in this Grand Prix. And we can then wrap it up then here in Monza then for the silver season, that is. But of course they will be back hopefully next season. We'll have to wait and see what the calendar is going to be looking like and if we're going to be doing it as well. But there we are then. So we got Nigel then. It's going to lead us away then. It's a late restart once again then from Nigel, as Farf all over the back of his teammate already then as we go down the main straight. Farf I think is going to be going for a move into turn 1 here on the soft compound tyres, using up a lot of the RS then to try and get himself ahead of his teammate as we go into turn 1. Then Nigel backs off, then letting his teammate go through into the first chicane, and has to have switched places as we go through turns 1 and 2. Farf now takes the lead on the soft compound tyres through the first chicane. Everyone seems to have got through okay, it seems. It seems okay. And Dylan there is putting the pressure now on Max as well, then into the Della Roda chicane as well. Then medium compound tyres then for Mumford and Potster. I was saying the medium compound tyres I think will be the best tyre to get to the end of the Grand Prix from this stage of the race then, with this restart, with the second safety car restart that is. So potentially, as we got Dopey Lemons there off the circuit then, and there's contact at the first Lesmo with, I think it was an Aston Martin of Ginner, which is not good news then for Ginner, I think, because I think Dopey Lemons will be very angry about that indeed. The Williams drivers, they're not having a good time out there as well then. Unfortunately then for Dopey Lemons, that is a wing change that will need to be done then for the Williams team, and he needs to get himself back to the pit lane then as quickly as possible as well then. Farf then trying to get himself, stretch his legs then out in front of the race then, ahead of his teammate then. Blocks is sticking with him, same for Dylan as well. They've started to drop Mumford then as we go through the first lap then of the restart, and away we go then on to lap 16 as well. Dylan is going to go for the overtake on the Ferrari of Mags. Is it not down? You can't go down the inside now. You can't. He's been cut off then by Glocks into turns 1 and 2, then stays behind for the time being. The soft runners then I think will have to make another stop potentially in this race. They might be able to get to the end of the Grand Prix. It will be very tight indeed. But there we are then. We'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold to be there. And Beaton pick up a penalty as well. Missed that completely. Then 5 seconds to do so. I'm not quite sure where that was as well. He's got 2 3-second penalties, unfortunately. Dopey Lemons got himself back to the pit lane, then to get himself on a set of hard compact tyres, then to trundle along to the end of the Grand Prix, hoping for another safety car. I think is Dopey Lemons then to get himself back in this race as well. Then down the order, I think Ginner are going to resume their fight, are they? Down towards the Ascara chicane. This is going to get interesting stuff indeed, as Ginner is looking to shape for a move. They're down the inside, then into the Ascara chicane, and Ginner's been always pushed off the circuit, then and TK's gone through. Somehow they have avoided contact there, the AlphaTauri and the Aston Martin, and TK takes the position then away from Ginner as well, then into the Ascara chicane. Then now Sweet MVP's on over the back, and then of the Aston Martin of Ginner as well, into the Parabolica corner as well, then round the final corner to finish off lap 16. Then DRS re-enabled now onto lap 17 then for the leaders, as we crack on then 11 laps to go actually, as we get to the final third then of this race. Then Riyadh and Irvine switching places now. Ginner and Sweet MVP then as well switching places into turn 1. It's going to be late on the brakes then for both of them as we go into the first chicane, and they have stayed status quo for the time being. And good start indeed then. Reflection is back in the pit lane. There's a wing change then for Reflection, who's not having a good time out there, unfortunately, then for the Alpine driver. Then back underway then on the medium compound tyres this time. Then Dopey Lemons then is still trying to catch up then, unfortunately, as well for him. So it's not looking good then for Reflection and for Dopey Lemons out there. They're having a few struggles, but they're still soldiering on as it stands. Then on to lap 17 we go then. 10 laps remain after this one. Nigel still is trying to keep up his speed at the start, then fasting in a nice solo with some DRS as well. They're trying to get themselves away then from Mags in P3 then as quickly as they can, if that is possible, that is, because Mags is going to do his best job to try and stay within that 1 second window. Same for Dylan as well. Then they've got Potstar, who is now down to P5 in this race so far. There's 2 seconds back there to the top 4 as we finish off lap 17 then of 27. Then there's quite a few drivers then, quite a few trains forming then behind Potstar as well. Now P5 as we've got Mumford, Vessia, Ultra Beast, TK, Ginner, Sweet MVP, then Riyadh as well. Irvine just about in this battle too, as well as Potters as well. There's all sorts trying to queue up then for the point paying positions as well. In the lead of the race then Farf has lost the lead then as Nigel takes back the P1 position then after Nigel did take the lead of the Grand Prix. Then after the safety car as well did come out, we've got all sorts of action then off the circuit. Goes Ginner through the first chicane. He's got a 5 second penalty for corner cutting as well. Then as TK has got himself through then and up into P9 then, and I think Ginner has let everyone through then as well there, because he did rejoin the circuit and cut across the first chicane completely to cost him that penalty as well then, which was a good effort. I think he did let everyone back through afterwards as well, but that has dropped him outside of the top 10 as well. Then Reflection is back in the pit lane, and what's going on for Reflection? He's not another wing change, has he? Hopefully not this time. Fingers crossed he's getting himself onto a set of soft compound tyres now, and that tyre wasn't even there on my screen, but he's now got himself, it's a wing change again then for Reflection. He's had another problem there somewhere, unfortunately then for Reflection. They're not having a great time onto the set of soft compound tyres to go for the fastest lap point there, as we've got more battling here between Riyadh, Ginner and Sweet MVP then as well, TK, and up into P9 then goes to McLaren, then ahead now of the Ferrari, ahead of the AlphaTauri as well as it stands. But I think there's going to be plenty more action then coming through into the next few laps as well then, as we get ourselves now onto lap 19 as Favre takes back the lead. Then into turn 1 we go then, as now the Haas is sort of working together here to try and keep hold of the race lead, potentially get themselves another 1-2. They started off the season with a 1-2 in Silverstone, but at the moment they are staying 1-2 here in Monza. But I think Mags then and Dylan will have something to say about that there very shortly as we go through towards the Della Roger chicane. Then Mags then takes back P2, then splits the two Haas pair and stays and goes up into P2, I should say. Then now all over the back of Favre is the medium runner then of Mags then into the first lens mode. Like I was saying, the medium runners I think are going to be in their best spot then at the end of this Grand Prix. At the end of the Grand Prix, they're on the current tyre set, that is, as now the DRS available on a penalty then going through into the second leg as well, and they're starting to rack up penalties here in the silver grid then as we go through into the Ascari chicane then onto lap 19 we are, as here comes the Alfa Romeo then trying to put pressure on Potts. They've caught up to Mumford, and now putting the pressure on here. This back in there with the top four is bringing Mumford back into play as well. Then Reflection gets up a penalty as well, and Reflection's not having a great time out there, so he seems to be struggling out there for the Alpine driver, but he's still going on in this race. He is. Right, then there's going to be a change for the race lead once again. Then here comes the Glocks. Then he takes the lead, but here comes Nigel as well. Then there's some double DRS there down towards turn one, and he slots in behind the Ferrari. Then doesn't go for the move. Then into the first chicane, stays behind then into P2. Then and now Max then takes back the race lead. Of course, after the pole position, he's got back into the race lead there onto lap 20. There's all sorts of action down behind as well. TK having a few issues as well. Then it seems he's gone off the circuit as well there. As now here comes Junior. He's gone through. Then same for Irvine as well. Then up into P12, and Irvine is on the brink of the points pairing positions, I think, then, because of course there's penalties for drivers ahead of them as well, then, so that is going to be costly for them, I think, and they will be added on, of course, to their race times at the end of the end of lap 27, that is. Right then, top four now trying to get away then, but Postaf now is trying to get himself in that 1 second window. He's only 1.2 seconds behind. He is really going for it now as Popstar. They're trying to get himself back in the DRS range then of Dylan. Sweet and Repeat and Ultimate Beast are switching places as well. Go through to Ascari once again, then P9 now for Sweet and Repeat, trying to recover in this race then after the front wing issue then at the I can't remember where it was, quite early on in this Grand Prix, wasn't it? A long time ago from me. I can't remember that far back, but there we go then. Reflection sets the fastest lap of the race. That's good news for Reflection. That will be an extra point for himself and his team if he can hold on to that as well. As here comes Nigel once again on the attack now for the lead of the race. Then DRS available then for the Haas driver. Can he get himself past Mags then into turn one with some DRS then into turn one. He's too far back, I think, to make a move. Then Mumford is not too far back. He makes the move then on Potstuff for P5, and now get himself back up into the 10 points for P5. So there as well off the circuit goes TK and Plotters as well. Then Jinner is involved once again. Then these drivers are still battling away then, and they're costing themselves more time than anything else, unfortunately. Then as Ultimate Beast and Potstuck are swat at Ultimate Beast and Sweet Repeat, they're battling away side by side almost into the Della Roger chicane as well. Then through goes to the pound, stays P9. B7 for P10 as it stands at the moment then, as right behind there's all sorts of battling going on then in the background then between Jenner and TK as well, it seems, but they have calmed down their battle at the moment, it seems, as well. Jenner's got a 3 second penalty as well that will be added on to his race time at the end of the Grand Prix. Riyadh gets himself past Bess here then for P7 in the Ferrari, now chasing down Potstuff as well into the Ascari chicane. Then out in front, Nigel is still stuck behind Mags then for the time being. Can Mags win the Italian Grand Prix in the Ferrari? That would be very historic stuff indeed then, as Kaz and Mr. Elite are switching places as we go through the Ascari chicane. And that is that then so far, as we crack on then for lap 22 now. We are getting through this race quite quickly, as Mags they're trying to weave off the straight and trying to get himself out of the slipstream then of the Haas coming through, but Nigel does take the race lead and back up into P1 then for the Haas driver, trying to get himself back up in the order then for this race as well. Ultimately he's got himself past Swing Repeat then into P9, and Plotters and Irvine I think were the ones switching places there into the first chicane. Oh, there's almost what happened there, almost off the circuit then for the Aston Martin is on the grass at one point, and got himself sorted once again then. Mr. Elite got himself past Kaz now into P15, and cracking on as well in this Grand Prix then. Lap 22 then of 27, 5 laps remain at the end of this one, and this is when it's going to start heating up as well. Those soft compound tyres have got to do another 5 laps then for Favre and for Dylan. That will take them to the edge of 15 laps or so. Serious Mushroom then in the comment section said the softs were definitely not the right tyre to be on, and that was only for 10 laps, so I think they've already started to struggle at this stage of the race then. Glocks all over the back of Nigel trying to line up a move, but into Ascari it is not a move to be made, I don't think, unless you want to take both of yourselves out, which is what Gurman's going to do to me on Sunday apparently, so good stuff. And there we are then, I might just avoid that one, but there we go then into the parabolic. We go then with Glocks now all over the back of Nigel, and trying to put the pressure on the Haas once again. Then into turn 1, here comes Farf as well. Then can Farf trying to go for a move on both of them to go back up into the race lead. We'll have to wait and see. Here comes Mags then into P1, back in the Ferrari, then back into P1 before the braking zone of turn 1, and he takes back the race lead there as well. Then good stuff indeed. Then Nigel slots himself back up into P2, or back down into P2 I should say. Then Farf stays P3, and Dylan is waiting in the wings then for any other action as well. Then Riyad has got himself past Potstaff and up into P5 now. The Ferrari really kicking on here. Both the Ferraris looking strong here in the latter stages of the Italian Grand Prix, which is going to be very good stuff indeed for the Tifosi, who are behind the Ferrari team. Well, actually, they're just, I think they're just fans, really, is the translation for Tifosi, but there we go. A bit of Italian then for you guys who are listening to learn about the Italian language, and as you drive Italian through the streets of the circuit of Italy, and we have a nice time in the sunshine of the Italian state in the north of Italy, and really enjoying ourselves in this one as well. Right, but Nigel then stays behind Max then for the time being, but again, I think is lining up a move there down the main straight with some DRS assistance as well. Then on to lap 24 we will be. And that will be 4 laps to go then at the end of this one as well. Then going to start heating up between these drivers as well. They start to battle then for the race lead and for the best position then as we start off the final couple of laps. Then Sweet Repeat is going around down the inside I should say, then on the Aston Martin of Plotters, then into the Parabolica we go then on to lap 24. And here we go, then action starting to unfold. Then here comes the Aston Martin, then here comes the McLaren, then going straight past the Red Bull and of Ultimate Beast. Then both of them starting to battle as well, then side by side into turn 1. Is there going to be some contact? There is a bit of contact there, but the McLaren holds the place, then he holds the position. And now the Aston Martin, actually Ultimate Beast has got a great traction out of turn 2 and is now back up past the Aston Martin and Plotters, then back up into P10 there for the Red Bull driver, then and now trying to chase down Sweet Repeat through the Curva Grande, but I don't think he's going to be able to make any moves there. But there we go then. Now Mags is stretching his legs here as well, then if you can see almost a 1 second gap there to Nigel, then Nigel is losing a bit of time out there on the first and second Lesmo as well. They're still in DRS range thankfully for the Haas driver's point of view. But Mags is doing a great job then trying to stretch that gap there out of the 1 second range. But now with the DRS then Nigel pulled himself back into the half a second range as well then. So it's not too shabby there. Great pace indeed then. It looks like very good straight line speed there for the Haas team. Riyad has dropped the battling Alpine pack then with Potstaff and Munford then and Vessia all in this battle as well then for the middle of the points pair positions as it stands. Driver of the day is out in the comment section. We've got Mags, Nigel, Farf and Irvine as your candidates. Then we'll look at the position changes. Karen picks up a penalty. There is your penalty situation then, so neither of those drivers, any of the drivers for the nominations anyway, have got any penalty. So we'll look at the position changes there. 11 for Farf, 9 for Nigel then, as we go down the main straight there for Vessia as well. Then we've got Irvine as well, then is in the range then to get himself some points as well. Then 5 second penalty for Jennifer speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately for Jennifer, that is going to be costly indeed. But I think going on to the soft compound tyres then for the fastest lap attempt, then yellow flags. We've got a problem then for a Williams car. I think it's Dopey Lemons. Then Dopey Lemons has had an issue. Where has he had an issue then? He's had an issue then at the exit then of the first Lesmo, and has spun the car around there unfortunately for Dopey Lemons. He's lost the front wing as well. Then Dopey Lemons not having a great time out there. Ginner is into the pit lane. He's gone onto a set of soft compound tyres then to go for the fastest lap point as well. So I think that might be an option there for Dopey Lemons as well then, but he might be lapped very shortly indeed then, as we can see the leader coming through Ascari. Then here comes Nigel lining up a move then for P1, but can't quite get his nose alongside the Ferrari then into the Ascari chicane. Then there's the Williams and Dopey Lemons there in the way then I think of the flying pack then coming through then into the Parabolica once again. Then here we go then down towards the final corner there on lap 25. I think Dopey Lemons can get out of the way then and get into the pit lane here and sort out that front wing, go for a set of soft compound tyres as well. And here we go then, here comes Nigel then on to lap 26 then of 27. Can he go for the overtake down the main straight? I think he's too far back actually then. Trying to get himself in the slipstream then of the Ferraris going into turns 1 and 2 once again. And he's too far back to make a move unfortunately then for Nigel. He has to sit in behind the Ferrari once again then of Mags, and here we go into the penultimate lap of the race, that is through Curva Grande there. Mumford and Vessia switching places as Mumford has got the traction there through turn 2 and is now on the back of Potstaff. Then into P7 goes the AlphaTauri. Good stuff indeed then. Plotters and TK still in the range then of the points pen position. There's a lot more pit activity in his Ultimate Beast is pit for a new set of softs. Same for Irvine as well. His teammate then, both the Red Bulls pitting for the soft compound tyres. Dopey Lemons is pit for a medium compound, so I'm not quite sure what is going on there for Dopey Lemons then. But he could have gone for a set of softs then and gone for the fastest lap attempt then. Out of the pits comes Irvine as well then, so a lot of drivers then switching on to the strategy then for the fastest lap point, as we have looked at the position changes, as we've got a move then for Farf. Then Farf has got himself, well, there's contact between the two Haas drivers as Glocks has gone off the circuit then as well, the Ascara chicane, and now has let both the Haas drivers come through, and Dylan as well then. Glocks has had Max has had an issue, I should say then. He's had an issue at the exit of the Ascara chicane, just about saw that at the end of that as well, because he was he looked like he was flying through. But then at the end he lost control of the car almost as well, and he went off the circuit, then he's dropped down to P4, and both the Haas's now have taken back the race lead. Then here comes Nigel then onto lap 27. He's got back the race lead from his teammate of Farf now, and takes back P1 into turn 1 we go then. Farf now all over the back, or all over the back of his teammate. There was contact between the two of them through Ascari as well then, so maybe the team play has gone out the window then on the final laps here of the Italian Grand Prix. And here we go then, Farf there around the Curva Grande, putting the pressure on. Here comes Dylan as well, they're in P3 now, as Glock's trying to get himself back into the fight as well. He's going to go for a move, not quite, he stays behind, and now the Haas's there have control of this Grand Prix as well then. It looks like it's going to be a double Haas podium at least then at this stage of the Grand Prix, with the last couple of corners here coming up then in Monza as well. And you can see that one. So there you go. Get the fastest lap of the race then, on the lap 26 then for him, which is good stuff indeed. Here comes Favre, they're barreling down the final straight then with DRS, that is, with some DRS. It's too far back, the soft compound tyres don't have enough grip then at this stage. Through the Ascara chicane we go then, and it looks like it's going to be a double Haas podium as well. It could be a Haas 1-2 once again then, after they started the season in round 1 of Silverstone with a 1-2. It could be the history repeating itself here in round 7 as well then. Around the final corner we go then, and here comes Nigel then up to the line. He's going to win the Italian Grand Prix for the Haas team. He crosses the line and takes the win here in Monza then. Great stuff indeed then from Nigel, and a fantastic win indeed, and it came from nowhere really, but it was a champion's drive indeed. Of course, Nigel is the first ever champion of ALR Gold. There we go then. Farf gets P2 in the end. A great stuff indeed from Farf as well then. Both Haas drivers up 10 places and 12 places respectively, and great racing indeed then from both the Haas team. Dylan in P3 then gets himself into the podium places as well then, after getting past Max, after the issue that Max had then at the Ascara chicane and on the penultimate lap then. Riyadh in P5 then, more people crossing the line. I think it was the fastest lap point popped up as well there. Mumford in P6 then, Potstaff P7, Vessia P8 then, Sweet MJP in P9, Plotters in P10, round off the top 10 as well then. TK P11 then in the end, only 7/10 off the points as well. Kaz in P12, Mr. Elite P13, as Plotters has left the session again, but thankfully he did make it to the end of the Grand Prix, and I think he was P10 then in the end. Ultimate Beast in P14, Irvine in P15, Ginner in P16, Reflection P17, Dopey Lemons in P18, I think. I'm not sure where he is actually, but he was somewhere there. As Reflection crosses the line then to finish off the Grand Prix, but yeah, good stuff indeed that one. A very good race at the end there as well. That final stint then after the second safety car was pretty good racing indeed then from the most of the grid then. Good stuff indeed, and we'll hopefully get some interviews for the drivers as well. Driver of the day was Nigel then in the comment section. And that is that so far then. There is your podium sitters then. It is both the Haas's on the top step, as well as Dylan in the McLaren as well. Good stuff indeed then from the Haas team, and of course for the McLaren of Dylan as well. And they will be celebrating with some nice champagne. It's starting to look a bit gloomy in Italy, so we'll have to jump off then very shortly and get ourselves all tucked up in bed. But there we go then. So we'll have a quick interview as well then with the podium sitters hopefully. And there is your classification then for the Italian Grand Prix then. Both the Haas's then on the top steps of the podium then. Nigel P1, Farf P2, Dylan in P3 in the McLaren, Mags in P4 and Riyadh in P5 in the Ferrari team. Mumford in P6 then, Potstaff P7, Vessia P8 then, 300P in P9, TK in P10, Kaz in P11, so I think it was Plotters in P10 actually. Mr. Elite P13, Ultimate Beast in P14, Irvine P15, Ginner in P16, Reflection P17, Dopey Lemons P18, Kamara Racer, and unfortunately Gordo as well, retired from the Italian Grand Prix. and I think we've got some interviewees. I'm not quite sure if Dylan has joined us, but has Dylan joined us? No, I'll take that as a no. Has anybody joined us? Oh, there we go. There's Dylan.
Sorry, I'm late.
That's all right. No worries. And well, we'll start off with Dylan then. Dylan, you had some great pace in that one as well. You had a bit of a difficult qualifying. It looked at some stages, but you still got yourself up there and thereabouts then to fight for the big points. Did you think a podium was on the cards tonight?
No, I totally didn't think the podium was on the cards. I just pretty much had to focus my race. That's pretty much it. What you call it, that spin early on before that safety car went out, it's kind of like unfortunate. Like rear locking cost me on that one to get more than P3 at the very least, but what you call it, thankfully the safety car pretty much helped me out, and in fact what you call it, stay with the 2 halves and mags till the end of the race.
And you had that. You said you had that spin as well. Can you tell us about that? Because we didn't see it on the screen. Then was there an issue then into the parabolica that you had, or was it just a mistake, or what happened there?
It's just a mistake from my point of view. It's just rear locking. I think I pressed the brakes too hard on the rear locking side of things, and went for me for a spin. That's what it is.
Very unlucky there, but you still got yourself back up on the podium places. And with you, well, you've got one Irishman back on the podium, then at least. So, so you're still keeping up the record. But I'm not quite sure if Sean is counting the nationalities of the podium sitters. But we'll have to wait and see. But once again, a good race from yourself then. And what's your thoughts then? Of course, we've got Bahrain next week. We're following the opening stages of the actual F1 season as well this weekend. So, what's your thoughts for Bahrain in a week's time?
I like the track too, quite frankly. Bahrain, it's kind of like the old school track. I would literally like Bahrain, like good for racing, good all round track. So looking forward to it.
Good stuff indeed. Hopefully we'll see you back here in the podium interviews. That's what it is. Podium interviews for in a week's time. But well done to Dylan there. P3 in the Italian Grand Prix. Good stuff indeed then from Dylan. We'll come to Farf next because Farf got P2. Farf, did you have a good race?
Yarp.
And you're happy with the podium?
Yarp.
And what's your thoughts on Bahrain as a circuit for racing?
Pass.
Great. I was trying to get you to say a word, well, more than one word, but never mind. And did you and Nigel work together in that race, or were you battling for the race win at the end with your teammate?
Yarp.
Okay, so that's that from Favre. Great stuff indeed. Then we'll hopefully not see you back on the podium. Nigel, then in P1, then a race win then on the cards. It didn't look like you had the best qualifying. Can you tell us about your qualifying at the beginning point of that?
Yes, mate. Great to be back, of course. The qualification was again very disappointing. The first stint was just a banker lap, and the second stint I was just full in, but. Yeah, I made a mistake in the last sector, so get an invalidated lap, but that was a shame for me, so I had to start P11.
And you started on the hard compound tyres, of course, this early safety car, we saw you switch on to the soft straight away, and I think that sort of set the precedent then from the rest of the race, from your point of view. You started flying up the order quite quickly, and ended up in the fight then for the podium places quite early on as well then.
Yeah, I was starting on hard for the hard medium stint because that felt right for me. But at the start, the hards didn't perform as well as I hoped. So the early safety car helped me a little bit, of course, with strategy. So I set my softs on the tire, on the car, and just did some qualification laps. And after a few laps, I think 3 or 4, I was in front. So I was very happy about it. And the second safety car also came handy for me, so I can do a free pit stop for the mediums and just fight for the win.
And you, of course, you were. Well, I have your two more questions really, because there was, you saw the incident then with, well, the incident then with Mags, who had an issue with the Scar chicane. Did you see what happened then to the Ferrari, or did he just lose the car through there?
I think he lost the car from there. I think he slightly hit the curb, but I don't know for sure because I was busy with fighting that chicane, so I was just focusing on my own car. But I think he clipped the apex a little bit.
And on that point with Farth, then we did ask him, but he didn't have much of an answer. So, were you battling with him, or were you working as a team then through that race?
We were working as a team through that race. We had both different strategies. I was on the softs and he was on the mediums, and then we switched, and it played out well for us. Especially with Max, of course, the almost spun in the last sector in the last sector. And yeah, Voigt was in front, so it was for me an easy overtake with the US, ARS, and yeah, of course, happy with the win, with the points. But I'll also say, great to be back after the holiday, so I'm very happy about it.
Congratulations once again then. So back on the top step from Nigel then. Both the Hasses are back on the top step as well. Both 1-2 after the opening race of the season back in Silverstone. So that's another 1-2 then from the Haas team. Dylan there in P3 in the McLaren as well. Good stuff from Dylan. Also, we'll have to stop it there then, because we've got to go to bed. Well, I've got to go to bed at some point. But no, great racing indeed then from the silver guys tonight. Then of course bronze is on tomorrow night here in Italy as well, and the 100% League is in Bahrain to preview the opening of the F1 season on Wednesday night then. So stay tuned to ALR. There's plenty more action coming up, and we'll see you soon.